Hi. Hi.
I told them all about you already. All good, mate.
That's canary cool as well.
Right, let us know when you guys are all set up at the back. Good. Right. Who wants to go first? Connor, Michael? Connor?
Sure. Johannes, nice to see you. Let's start with some injury updates. So I'll throw a couple of names at you. Liam Gibbs, first and foremost, I think you said he was going to have a scan.
Yeah.
How's that looking?
Not really positive. So I think we're talking return to play maybe 10 weeks time.
Okay.
Yeah. So it was unfortunately what we didn't hope that it was. So yeah, very unfortunate for first and foremost him, but of course also for us.
Yeah, I was going to say because before you arrived, you had quite a big thigh injury at the back end of last year. I think he's got a big scar on his leg now. So another injury blow for him. And I think you spoke about him in pre-season as being somebody that you felt could really challenge in those midfield areas.
Yeah, and that's been the plan. Of course, even though he hasn't been a regular starter for us, then it was the plan because he's a good player. He has the capacity, especially physically, to cover a lot of ground. That's unfortunately how it is, and we just have to support him the best possible way.
And on Al as well, I think he's posted on social media that maybe looks like one's going to keep him out for a little while.
Yeah, and it's the same. So we're talking 10 weeks time, something like that. It didn't seem that serious actually in the game, and we thought that we went with low risk and took him out after these 7-8 minutes on the pitch, but we could see that he was struggling running with full speed and full power, so we went with what we thought was low risk, but now it seems that it was very, very important we actually took that decision, because it's also a longer one for him.
And again, someone that had an injury absence at the back end of last season
as
well. So do you have to manage them the best you can in terms of their mindsets when they've been out for a period, they come back, there's all that excitement, and then it happens again?
That is the difficult part about being injured, because you have to keep close to the squad still. You have to be close connected. So we do everything we can to still. They have to be in meetings every morning. They have to be involved with the team. But of course, we also have to respect that there will be sometimes different days for them where it's okay for them to stay at home or do something different, because it doesn't make sense for them to be in every day. But especially that feeling about being a part of a team can disappear a little bit when you're injured for a longer time, and that's where we have to be strong as a group to make sure that they still feel a big part of it.
And Anis Ben Slimani, where were you with him?
Back in the team. He's been on the pitch the whole week, so he's back in.
Excellent. So you've lost one from the midfield area with Gibbs, but you've also gained one as well. So in terms of numbers-wise, it's sort of balanced. Even though you prefer to have both of them, it's sort of
we prefer, because we actually thought we was still a little bit short on numbers on midfield. Also, still the options in game, and also to create that competition every week, which is important for the guys to stay sharp. But that's how it is. We manage.
Do you think he's in a position physically where he would be able to start if you needed him?
Yeah, he is.
Excellent. And in terms of anyone else, is there any sort of other issues heading into this weekend? Any other players that you're sort of monitoring?
Gipsy, Unel, Barnsley, same situation. Lungi, Fassi, Tony. I think that's it.
Excellent. Yeah, it's unfortunately growing list.
Yeah.
Just to obviously a couple of news bits to ask you about. Callum Fisher, first and foremost, and his new contract. I'm sure it came at a nice time after what happened last week, but I'm sure it's something that you've been speaking to him about for a little while.
No, I said to him before the game on Saturday that we only extend if you perform well today.
It works, that. But in terms of him, I know you've spoken about him a lot, but he seems to be a player that you've been really impressed by since you walked in. I know you tried him in midfield in a range of positions. I think we saw probably last week the role that he can play in terms of the build-up. So just a very intelligent footballer.
Yeah, and the reason why we did that in pre-season was because we could see that when he will cover that right-back position for us, it will be in a more inverted role. So actually to give him these minutes in pre-season as a midfielder, it could prepare him even better for that role. So that was the plan back then, and I think I should not take the credit for that, because it's him performing well from day one here, making sure that even though he was not playing, he did everything he could every day in training to push and create that competition, which is so important for us. I also spoke to Jack before the game against Watford that it was a decision that we took, because we think it was about time for Kellen and he was ready, but also for Jack to stay sharp as he did when he came on against Watford and made an assist and several good offensive situations as well. So that's exactly how we want it, that we have players that can compete for these starting positions.
And on Kellen specifically, he's quite an interesting one in terms of his background and where he's come from. Non-league, I think, just over a year ago to now playing Championship football. He obviously had a year last year where he was signed as a development player, we didn't play any development football, and I think he only started 3 Championship games and got taken off in a couple of those. Even though it was a year of progress, he's had some difficult spells within that, and we spoke to him after the game last week and he said he's feeling more confident. So I appreciate you weren't here last year, but have you seen that confident sort of young player? And his background as well, it feels like quite a nice
but we should never underestimate that with young players, they need that sometimes tough moments or difficult moments in their career to make sure that they can overcome that, and it's actually very, very good learning for young players. It's often the case if you see young players that just take the next step like this, and everything is linear, then it becomes difficult for them when they have to take that step into first team football. So it's good for me that he have had this a little bit difficult time or struggled maybe a little bit, because it's so good learning for young players. Now it feels like it's the time for him, and now we can see that he's playing with confidence and he's playing with the intensity in his game that we need. So it seems like it's about time for him to play now, even though he's still young, and there will be games where he's not performing to his standards, and that's how it is. But of course now it's the next step in his career.
Yeah, and in terms of that sort of non-league experience as well, do you think it's given him that extra sort of physicality, learning how to deal with that, like we saw last week? Because academy football sometimes isn't always that way.
No, I struggle a little bit myself to find out what's the best actually for these young ones, where they are outside the team, but their ambition is to take that step into the team, where that's for them to go out on a loan or to stay in our environment. I think I watched the game Tuesday night at the stadium and could see that was a really, really high intense game, youth football when it's best, and also a game that looks a little bit like what they will face when they step into the first team. So sometimes it can be better for them to stay here and have a lot of sessions with the first team, and sometimes it's better for them to go out on loan, League 1, League 2, to have that experience. I think it's really in the individual matter, but it's about for us to find the best possible way for them.
Yeah, you kind of mentioned Jack Stacey. I was going to ask you about him, because I think a lot of people would have looked at that team sheet last week and thought, that's a big decision that you made there. But have you seen, and obviously he came on and made probably the response that you want to see, but in terms of his reaction this week to all of those things, he's taken it in the right way as a professional?
Yeah, he is, and I think he showed that in these 15 minutes he were on last Saturday, because that's exactly the approach that we need. The same we can say about Ben, who's also been a regular starter for us so far this season, and we're also not in the lineup Saturday. It's exactly the response that you hope for as a coach, but that's difficult. Sometimes it's easy to say, but that's difficult for a player, and it's praise to Jack and praise to Ben, because they did really well. And end of the day, that's what it takes for us to stay sharp and to have a competitive environment every day here. So it's really, really important for us.
The other bit I wanted to ask you about, obviously, the new goalkeeping coach, Tony Roberts, who's been announced today. It's quite a CV that he's got. He's come from recently working with AC Milan. You must be absolutely delighted with that appointment. Someone that Ben knows, isn't he, quite well?
Yeah. We are, as a club, very delighted, because it was our top priority, first priority. But again, with the support from the academy and from Dek being in the game and being in the training, and Dek will also travel with us to Derby tomorrow together with Tony, just to have that smooth integration of everything. But because of that, it gave us the time to actually go for our top priority here, and not just to go for something a quick fix or something that someone could come in from day one and just do the job. But no, we went for what we thought was the most ambitious candidate, and unfortunately we got that.
Yeah, it's a shame he walked into this weather, isn't it, rather than
Yeah, but I think he loves it. Actually, he's when you talk to him, it seems like he's more than happy with this.
Yeah, absolutely. And in terms of sort of the coach replacements, we've got the goalkeeper coach.
Yeah.
Coach, are you any sort of further down the line with that one?
Yeah, we are. I've had some good meetings. So it's the final details and actually the same kind of process as with the goalkeeper coach. We've taken our time because it's so important that we get in the right personality, which can support us in the best possible way. But it also should be a person for the future in the club. But again, with the support from the academy coaches, we have the time that we need, and the same with that coach. It will not be a rush. It will not be something we do overnight just to get it done. No, we take our time. But it seems like we're getting closer. So let's see. Next week is a busy one, but let's see when we find time.
Yeah, absolutely. And I guess on that point, you spoke about obviously the two academy guys. It helps with that transition, doesn't it? Because they've got to learn what you want and your style of play as well, and how to coach that. So having two guys that have sort of been around it since pre-season is helpful.
Yeah, it's a massive help to us, and they will stay around the team. Like I said, Dek will travel with us. He's been in the training today and was also a part of the training Wednesday. Will travel with us for the game tomorrow, and will still be a part of that goalkeeper group because it is so important. It is so important that we prepare the next ones as well. And the same will be the case with Joe, who's been supporting as an assistant coach throughout now. What is it? 1.5 weeks, and he will also stay around the group when it makes sense. Of course, we have to accept and acknowledge that he covers another job as well. So we cannot take all his time, but it's important that he's there, and I think what they have given to the group, but also the coaching staff, has been very good.
And just to reflect on last week a little bit, I mean, 4-1 victory. I think there's been plenty of positivity around that. I'm sure there has been this week in training. What are your reflections, sort of sitting here a week on? Now you've had time to sort of dissect it,
yeah.
look at some of the sort of numbers and data behind it.
Yeah, I think it's actually more or less what I said after the game. I think I was really delighted and still am with the good moments in the game. I think the good moments we had in that game was maybe our best moments so far this season. I think we played on a very, very high level, and I think from outside we sat with this feeling throughout more or less the 90 minutes that we could actually score a goal more or less all the time in the game, which is a good feeling to have, to be honest, in a game. I didn't have that feeling the first game in Oxford, to compare just a little bit. So that was positive. Then there was these moments in the game where I was not satisfied with our approach to it. I think after our 3-1 goal, we got too passive. Where I think the way that we handled the game the last 5, 8, 10 minutes maybe was really good, because it was just about passing and then creating the 4-1 goal and creating big chances for us. But that's the way we want to handle the end of a game, and not being passive defensively, but taking control still on the ball. So there's definitely some improvement areas for us, also based on the result and the performance and so on. But it's been important for me also to tell the guys that they did very, very well.
Is it a result in a performance that's felt like it's been coming in recent weeks because of the way that you've sort of improved?
Yeah, but I think we were not satisfied with the performance in Swansea, even though we could see that we actually got ourselves into some good moments, some good areas, created a lot of big chances in that game. So that result could have been different. That's again important for us when we talk about still a process here where we have to improve and we have to be better, and we're still developing something where we have to highlight these good moments in games, even though the result is not perfect for us. So I think there was moments in the Swansea game, even though it was not good. And I think there's been moments so far also in some of the other games, and it was important for us to, also in front of the home crowd, and to have that best performance so far of the season, I would call it.
Does it help you in terms of as a reference point for the players, where you can show them that actually if they do what you want them to do, there's an example there of how successful it can be? You mentioned that sort of passivity as well.
Yeah.
The fact that you sort of shook that off and then went and scored a fourth goal as well, it's proof that what you're trying to do can be successful if it's done right. Yeah, exactly. So we've also tried to highlight some of these actually psychological moments in the game. I think our response after their 1-1 goal, we're a little bit too passive, and we want to tell not a story here, but we want to tell the players that we can concede no matter where we play and no matter who it's against, and even though how good we play, we can still concede a goal, but it's our response after that. We have to be
attacking in our mindset again, and these moments just straight after were a little bit too sloppy for us, and again too passive, where these are the moments to take care of in a game. So I think that was worth highlighting for us. But what I also liked about our performance in that game was the team cohesion. There was so much support among the players, supporting each other in individual duels, shaking each other's hands and hugging and celebrating these small moments in the game as well, which is so important, because it is in the details that the good performance is.
Just a few on this weekend, but Paul Warren, I think he's a Norwich fan, and has said that pretty openly. I think he's usually supporting your team.
Yeah,
so
let's see how big a fan he is tomorrow.
Right. I was going to say slightly different sort of situation for him, but in terms of the job that he's done generally there, because Derby obviously have had a lot of struggles, went down to League One. To get out of that division is incredibly tough, as we know, and you look at some of the teams that have been down there. But the start to life they've made in the Championship was as well, particularly at home, has been really strong.
Yeah. So we of course have to make sure that we go there tomorrow and can make sure they don't have the same record after Saturday, because they've been good at home. It's a strong team. You can see they're physically strong. They have a good discipline in the team. They are compact. They're getting into that compact shape really, really quick. So if we're just a little bit too slow, it can cause us some trouble to open them up. I think they're good on the counters, and then of course all these corner kicks, throw-ins, free kick situations, we have to be really, really strong, because that's a big area of their game.
With Warren, when there is a coach who has an attachment, can that lead to more motivation? Can you get more motivation into his players out of that on a sort of one-game basis?
Yeah, you never know. I don't think so. For players individually, they can come from all over the world and have connections to so many different clubs. So I think what more or less every coach will do is to focus on his team, focus on his own performance, prepare them best possible way, and I'm sure that they are fully prepared for when we come tomorrow. And I think that's what he will do. I think that's that stuff with who he supports. That will be for after the game. I'm pretty sure who he supports when the game is on.
Last two from me, but you mentioned the home record. I think we spoke last week about your own home record and how strong that is. So what's it like to be on the receiving end of that? Can you do anything differently as a coach to try and sort of preempt, I guess, maybe the momentum and positivity that the team
Yeah, we can build on it, because like I said so many times now, we can really feel the support. Now I just heard how many fans are traveling to the game tomorrow, which is really, really impressive. So we can really, really build on that. And like I said also before the Watford game, that's in these moments of the game where we need support, where we struggle a little bit, where we need that extra motivation, maybe we need that extra power. We can get it from the crowd. So that's really important. End of the day, statistics at some point they will break. That's also what you see. We just hope that it will not be too soon for us when we play at home. But that's how it is. But there's a big advantage for us when we have that support, and they will do it also in the difficult moments. So definitely.
Finally, for me, I was trying to ask you a question about Oscar Schwartau, who obviously is remarkable. Look at him; he's an 18-year-old in terms of his physique and probably his maturity as well. Clearly played a lot of senior football. You know all about him. You've played him on the right and also in the middle. So I guess the first part of this question is: do you see him better suited to that sort of third midfield role?
Yeah.
And second, where is he in terms of his current level to what you sort of experienced in Denmark? Because obviously there's going to be a period of adaptation there.
I have an idea that he will be a Premier League player in the future. I hope it's for us. Maybe I actually hope that it will be for us to begin with, and then he can take a step to the next level for him, because I think he will be a future Premier League player. When will it be? No one knows, but I think he has the potential to do it. I think he's better when he's just behind that striker, that single striker we play with. I think he's really, really good in coming in these second line movements, runs in the box, runs in behind. He's really a runner in his game and can do a lot of running in the game and open up some space for the others, creating dangerous moments. And I think so. But I think his position is best when he's just behind that striker. And also what we tried to do in the weekend was to have him in that role where he could support Josh in the box, where he could support him to link up, but also create some space for Josh by running in behind sometimes from a central position. So I think that's where he's best. Thank you.
Just a few from me, if I can, Johannes. I'll probably be quite a tight focus, but and this is a strange question after scoring 4 goals, but the attacking shapes that your team is producing, how close are they to what you want them to be, and how much room is there for improvement in how you're attacking as a team, especially in the front of kind of positions?
Yeah, I think still what we need to be better at is the combinations in central, so we create more chances from these central positions where the 9 link up with the 2 offensive midfielders and can cause some dangerous moments in there. I think we improved in the wide areas where we can get in behind, we can do combinations on the side to bring in crosses from the side. So I think there's room for improvement, which if you ask me the same question in 6 months' time, I will definitely say there's room for improvement, but maybe just in another area. And that's how it is. But what I like to see was the variation that we played the game with on Saturday. We could do short passes, we could be more direct in our approach, we could go on the counter as well. So I think we covered many areas of the game very well offensively. So that's for us to continue with that, knowing that there's still some way to go before we are really there.
Oh yeah, you'll never answer that.
No.
With Josh Sargent, he's your focal number 9, which
Yeah.
at the moment. What sort of role are you asking him to do on a weekly basis in general principles, but also his strengths, and when you first arrived at the club, what you saw that you could actually utilise from him?
He has a very, very big role. And I know when you focus on strikers, and I could read the other day that he's been in many, many good situations, and I've had a lot of situations in front of goal and a lot of chances so far. But what you don't talk that much about, or when you talk about strikers, is their defensive discipline. And he's a fantastic player for us defensively, because he's hardworking. He's really he's the center of that first pressing line for us, where he connects the wide players. He can communicate. He can make small adjustments. He's really analytic in his approach in the game, so it's easy for me to communicate with him and adjust small things, and he can get it on to the other players on pitch. So defensively, he has a big role as well, which is also what you see on highest level at the moment, where you can talk so much about scoring goals, but when you see the best teams perform at highest level, you also see wingers tracking back and sometimes ending up in fullback positions because they have to support and cover. The same with 9 positions, where that part of the game is just huge. And then offensively, of course, he's also our main guy in the box. He's a good runner, running in behind. We actually try to encourage it a little bit more before the Watford game for him to do even more of these runs in behind. And then we can use him as a link-up player as well. So I think he's a central character in the way that we want to play, both because of his strengths in the game, but also because of his personality.
Yeah, and just lastly, I mean, this almost feels like a contradiction, because I don't know if you'd maybe want to narrow where he is involved in play to a degree, because you're positionally and you want that structure. And by the same token, he is such a good runner with the ball that those counter moments where he's coming from deep is really effective too. I don't know how you balance that or instruct that with him. Yeah,
it's just for him to know that he shouldn't force it. So the positional play is always important, especially in the first part of a game, where it's more tactical and you know the players are not that tired, so you always see a first 45-60 minutes of a game where it's more tactically, and then it can open up. So that's the second part of the game, where then it will open up for more space to him to run with the ball and create moments on the counter. So for him to have that awareness on how the game will develop, and also reading that change of tempo and speed in the game, which comes with experience and comes with game understanding, and not being too eager within the first 15-20 minutes, but having the patience also to stay in the game and be ready in these decisive moments. And I think he's a great character, and he's good for the group, and I'm really, really pleased with his performances. And like I also say, we can focus a lot on the goals. Of course, it would be fantastic for him to score tomorrow. I know he would love to do that, but I focus on so many other roles and aspects of the game as well.
Yeah, sorry, one more, Jack. You have to then be quite physically strong and capable, I guess, to be able to take advantage of those moments later in the game too. Is he sort of up there amongst the squad in terms of strength and fitness?
Yeah, he is. Look at him.
Oh yeah, I was going to say. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you, Johannes. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, thanks, guys. If we could have cameras off at the back, please. And then Jack, you want to jump up
Thank
here?
you very much.